Into the darkness of future past the magician longs to see. One chance out between two worlds. Fire pod with me. Welcome to Fire Pod with me, everyone. My name is Pete Martell, and with me as always is my co-host Wyndham Earl. Say hi, Wyndham.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing chess moves, as well as Twin Peaks: The Return, Part 11. This might be my favorite episode of The Return so far.
Yeah, I would say so too. Like, there was so much that happened. It was so jam-packed, and it all felt like it was going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, compared to, like, obviously nothing can touch episode 8, at least that we know of, just because that was its, like, own unique thing. But as far as, like, story goes compared to everything else, yeah, this is, like, I think this is my favorite one so far.
Definitely. So, let's get right into it. We start with them boys playing some catch.
Yeah.
At first I was afraid that we were about to watch somebody else get hit by a fucking car.
Me too. When you see the kids, like, go out, when the ball gets loose, when he goes out onto the street, I'm like, uh-oh, it's happening.
Yeah. But what we see is good old Miriam beaten and bloodied, which someone brought to my attention that in last week's episode, when Chad goes to intercept the mail,
mm-hmm.
he grabs the wrong letter. A different Miriam had sent the letter that he grabbed.
No way.
Yeah.
Man, we're supposed to be the experts and we missed that?
Yeah, dude.
Yikes. But that's crazy. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that you would have to, like, look at the credits to know, because I believe, like, the actress that played Miriam is, like, a Miriam Sullivan or something like that, and the Miriam that sent the letter is, like, a Miriam Smith. Like, it's, like, a different last name.
Wow. So basically, Richard's fucked either way.
Yeah.
Like, man, this episode, like, really flipped everything on its head too, because when I first saw that shot of her, I didn't think she was moving when the kid was like, oh, there's someone there. So I was like, man, is Miriam gonna be like the Laura type figure? Because that would be crazy. Like,
that would be crazy.
That's not what I was expecting. And then what follows too kind of caught me off guard. But anyway, yeah, like, she comes out and she's barely alive and very bloody and beaten. So, like, to have her alive plus have the letter already sent, like, Richard's probably fucked. If he's not already out of town. I don't know. We didn't see him this episode.
No. No.
But the thing that I was saying that also, like, was much different was when we're introduced to Becky, or, like, what we see of Becky, she kind of seems, I mean, obviously we have the scene of, like, Steven, beating her and, I don't know, like, in this episode we see her, she calls her mom Shelly very panicked, and, like, Shelly shows up and is like, what's going on? And Becky just, like, steals her keys, has a gun, and when, like, Shelly's like, what are you doing? And Becky's trying to peel off, like, hops on the hood, and then she shakes her off. Like, it was just such a twist, because, like, how I was thinking was, like, Becky was going to be this, like, tragic character that was kind of going through the same cycle that her mom went through, but would ultimately end up being, like, this Laura type figure, which doesn't seem like it's going to be the case now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was really crazy to me. Yeah. So, oh man, yeah. We see, like, Shelly. Let's talk about Carl using the flute. What was
the
it, like
little whistle thing? Yeah.
Yeah, the little whistle.
I loved that.
Doesn't need an Uber when you got the whistle.
No, dude. I love Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been great. I love how much they've used him. Like,
Yeah,
and pretty important sequences too.
definitely.
So yeah, then Shelley like goes into town with the help of Carl, and they flag down, or they call Bobby. Like,
Hmm.
we don't know what Becky's doing. And Becky goes to the apartment complex that Steven's at with who I assume is his like side piece.
Must be. I mean, I don't know how else to read that scene.
Yeah. And like she's like, "Open up." Fucking about to kick the door down, and then just like fires off like how many shots? Like 6 shots into the door?
Yeah, I think
Crazy.
she just fires off the whole round. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, like I thought she was gonna like someone was
There
gonna
was
catch
gonna be
us.
someone behind the door.
Yeah, or like something,
Yeah.
because when the the way that they like showed us that Steven and this new mystery girl, his like side thing, were not in the room, was like it was this very long like Kubrick style like one shot of the hallway going down the staircases and then showing them in the stairwell.
Hmm.
But in that, I thought that they were going to show somehow the camera was going to follow us to like where the bullet actually hit, and then maybe it killed someone else, like
Yeah.
a bystander or something. I thought that's what was
Yeah.
happening, but just a interesting way to show that they were not in the room. So yeah, nothing really came out of that except the conversations that Becky has later, but we can get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah. The only thing that I picked up from that was confirming that Shelley and Bobby had been married at some point, as
Right.
Shelley still has the name Shelley Briggs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was oh man. Yeah, we'll talk about that scene here in a little bit, but that, oh man, so sad.
Yeah,
But anyway,
definitely.
yeah, we get Albert and Co. They, oh man, they take our boy Mr. Hastings, Principal Hastings, to aka the Shaggy Principal,
Oh hell yeah,
to the
my boy Bill.
Bill, to the man. Can we talk about, he is like, his performance this whole series has been so good. Matthew Lillard, like, he's really shown his range, and especially how this episode, well, where his story arc goes, at least for now. But anyway, um, yeah, they take him to the abandoned house where he saw Major Briggs, and a lot of spooky shit starts happening.
Oh yeah. I wrote down, who is this sketchy fady man? There's the
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 Fady
guy that,
man.
yeah, that just kept like creeping and fading away. I was like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
But we eventually kind of we don't figure out who it is, but we figure out what it is once it gets closer to the camera in a little bit there. Uh, but yeah, so he talks about where he was exactly. Bill Hastings is talking about where he was exactly when all that shit went down
Mm-hmm.
with him and oh, what was her name?
Ruth.
Ruth Davenport. Yeah.
Yeah.
He talks about where they were, and it was just about 20 feet from where they parked. So Gordon himself walks out there, and then the sky looks like it's from the Black Hole Sun music video, and
Yeah.
it's just that swirling vortex. And I loved the shot of when it zoomed out and we saw everyone just sort of watching Cole standing there with his arms up, just like kind of like waving his hands in the air a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, but obviously it's some bizarre way to communicate with the Black Lodge, as
Mm-hmm.
as he sees dirty bearded men in a room.
I knew that was coming.
But the interesting part of that scene, well, one of the interesting parts anyway, all of that was very interesting, was Diane looks over and like just watches the sketchy fady man like enter the police vehicle.
Yeah, like
And she like looks over and like watches it happen, and it doesn't faze her at all.
yeah, yeah. We can talk theories on that too, but yeah. So essentially, the dirty bearded men in the room almost take Gordon, like
Mm-hmm.
because he's kind of like in this daze, and they almost lift him into the black hole type, I don't know, thing in the sky, and Albert like grabs him and keeps him from going up there. So that would have been crazy if Gordon would have went missing too.
Fuck.
Um, but yeah,
Call
right
for
after
help.
that happens, I don't even know what would Doppel Gordon be like.
That's a great question.
Too spooky. Um, but yeah, right after that happens, they see the Fady Man, as we'll call him, another one of like the woodsman type dark figures, like go into the police car. And at first, I thought he was gonna be like possessing the other police officer.
Mm-hmm. I thought so too.
I was like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen here? But yeah, she seemed very just like nonchalant, like watching this happen, and that was weird to me. And unfortunately, what happens next is it seems as though the spirit possesses Bill Hastings, the Shaggy principal, and makes his head explode.
Yeah. Much to the distress of our friend, veteran cop from The Dark Knight Rises. What's his name in the show, though? It's Mackley, Detective Mackley.
Yeah. What does he start? Oh my God.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh my God.
Yeah, he just has him in the back of the car, and all of a sudden his head explodes. At first, I was a little, because it sounded a little muffled when Diane says, like, you're not going to need backup for this. Is that what she says? Is that what you heard too?
Yeah, that's what she says. And then my favorite is Gordon just goes, he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, there's a chance. But I wrote down the address of where they were at. 2240 Sycamore. I don't remember if that had been brought up before or not.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that the other entrance to the Black Lodge is on Sycamore Street.
Oh, that is interesting.
Whereas, of course, in the original, there was the circle of sycamore trees in the forest there.
Yeah. And to follow the sequential order of what happened, after Albert saved Gordon from going up, that's when they look over and they found Ruth's headless body laying there.
Yes.
In the location. And of course she had like coordinates engraved into her arm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's a very key part of the episode later on. So yeah, that basically it ends with Gordon saying he's dead, and from that we see Bobby, Shelley, and Becky at the diner having a conversation. Sorry, and basically they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And yeah, Bobby's saying that Becky needs to pay for the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And Shelley offers to pay, and I think Becky's the one that turns it down. Is like, Mom, I've taken like too much money from you already.
Yeah.
And
which is mature of her.
Yeah. So she's a very, it's hard to read her as a character so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she
what
obviously
age would you put her at?
That's a good point. Because I could see her playing like a mid-20s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-20s, upper 20s. What would you say?
Well, at first I thought she was probably like 18 or 19. But now I'm starting to think maybe she's more 21, 22.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because, yeah, I don't know. It does seem like it was like a young marriage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, she can't be any older than 25, but...
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah, Bobby's like, I'll pay for the expenses of the apartment, and then he kind of starts questioning Steven. They're like, you gotta get rid of him.
Yeah.
You gotta divorce Steven. And she's like,
Dad Bobby is my favorite, by
oh
the
yeah,
way.
oh yeah. Um, yeah, no, he's like super calm and like he still has that coolness to him, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's very mature, responsible about this all. And he's like starting to question like, did Steven ever hit you? And Becky lies and says that he never has. Um, but yeah, says that like the only reason why he hasn't like busted Steven yet or arrested him is just because he was waiting for him to change and hoping that he
Mm-hmm.
would. He's like, not anymore. His time has run out.
Yeah, dude.
So
Dad Bobby spanked, dude.
you say he spanked him?
Nah, he's gonna spank him.
He's gonna spank him. Yeah, and following in the already like eventful nature of this episode, right after this conversation, shots ring out into the diner.
Well, before that, though,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah,
we
yeah,
see
yeah.
we see Shelly. A man approaches the window,
Mm-hmm.
and Shelly runs outside to meet him, and that's her new guy. And we just poor Bobby just gets to watch them make out.
The magician drug dealer.
I was gonna say, and if I'm not mistaken, that guy is Magic Motherfucker.
That's right. Magic motherfucker. Yeah, that is him. So, like, how did you interpret that as far? Because obviously, when she comes back, like, she goes out and sees him, gives him a smooch,
Mm-hmm.
and comes back to the conversation with Bobby and Becky, and is very like she's very giddy, like
Mm-hmm.
like almost like high schoolish. Like she was just talking to a boy that she had a crush on.
Right.
And you can tell that Bobby's like it stings, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think? I mean, the way that I interpreted that is like Bobby made a positive change in his life, and
And maybe Shelly wasn't into it. She still wanted the bad boy.
yeah, she lived off the excitement. But what's crazy to me, like, because I feel like that almost discredits her character from the original series,
Mm-hmm.
from the original run, because like she was the one that was like working all the time and like taking care of Leo while Bobby was like out being an asshole.
Yeah.
And she had like backbone and like wanted them to have a good life and stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's karma. Like now she's the one out having fun, because I mean Bobby was like flirting with Audrey and stuff while she was
Oh
home
yeah.
taking care of Leah. So I mean he murdered a guy. Let's not let's not let's not forget about that. So
Andy murdered a guy.
yeah, gotta always go back to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sad to see Bobby like that, but you know, I
Yeah.
but it also like it was such a tonal shift in that scene because you felt like the sense of like camaraderie. Like I already kind of assumed they weren't together just because we hadn't seen them together.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, they were there for their daughter and they were having this nice kind of like bonding moment. But then afterwards, it just kind of like, I don't know. She's telling like she needs to listen to her own advice. Like she's telling Becky, you need to get out of this. He's no good. But she's dating like this magician,
Magic motherfucker.
magic motherfucker, big drug dealer, scary dude.
Yeah, dude.
And so like you can tell I don't know if Bobby knows that about him, but either way he's like hurt, and then like Becky like can tell that her dad's hurting. So it's just like this weird tonal shift like immediately. But yeah, right after that is when the gunshots go off, right?
Yep. Immediately after Shelly gets back.
Yeah. Oh man. This scene was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I'll let you explain it.
Well, yeah, because obviously shots are fired into the double R, and so Bobby tells everybody to get down, starts crawling around through there, being badass cop Bobby. I thought Dad Bobby was cool, but cop Bobby's even cooler. And so he gets outside, and there's a couple arguing right outside their van, and what had happened was apparently this man's the mother and her child. Apparently, the child is the one that fired the shots, and the father had left a gun on the floor of the car, and the child had picked up the gun and just fired a shot, and so Bobby goes out there and investigates this, and he's talking to them. He's asking for their ID, but the whole time this is all going on, as he's learning this information, a lady is just wailing on her car horn, and at first I just thought this was Lynch being Lynch and just having someone be really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But a backup eventually shows up, and Bobby has the other cop kind of take care of getting their information and whatnot, while Bobby goes and tries to talk to this lady that's honking her horn. And this lady was perfect casting. I don't know where they found her, but the lady that's honking her horn is just totally off. I don't know how else to describe her, but she just starts rambling about, we have to get home. Why is this happening?
Her voice was somehow worse than the horn.
Oh yeah. But she's explaining. She's like, we're with them. We just need to get home. She's sick. And I thought like she was talking about the mother that was driving the car in front of her. But then we just see like arms raise up from the passenger seat of the car, and it's like a small child, and she just starts puking, like just like green vomit is dripping out of her mouth and whatnot, and the lady in the driver's seat is just going like over and over again. It was just almost like the same sound the horn was making at this point. But it just focuses on this girl like just getting up and vomiting all over herself, and Bobby's just watching this very confused. And that's about all the resolution we get with that. But
yeah, and the girl like doesn't look very like traditionally like realistically sick. Like she looks almost like zombie like.
Yeah, it was kind of like the vomit that was dripping out of her mouth almost looked like the color of like the vomit from The Exorcist to me.
Yeah, like something was not right there.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm not the first person to make this comparison, but that scene reminded me a lot of the scene where Mike approaches Leland in Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
You know, when he's yelling at him and like
Yep.
the horn's going off. There's something just like that. It's so unsettling when just like repeated blaring
horns.
Yeah, like
yeah. You ate all my creamed corn.
Yeah. Before we move on from that scene, I would also like to mention that Bobby's backup that shows up says that he heard the shots while he was at Big Ed's pump.
Ed's. Yeah.
So that's the most we've heard about Big Ed so far. 11 episodes in.
Yeah. Jeez. I was hoping he was coming. Like I was hoping Big Ed was just gonna show up.
Yeah. No, same.
I miss Big Ed so much.
This whole podcast is just like us expressing our frustrations with Ed not being in the series yet, but that's okay.
We should rename the podcast Big Ed's Gas Podcast.
Ooh. It doesn't roll off the tongue as nice, but I like it.
Gas Podcast.
Oh man. So after that, we're back at the police station with Hawk and Truman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably have a couple questions to ask you on this, just because I don't know, like, so Hawk shows Truman his like living map.
Yeah,
it's like this old like leather like rolled up map thing, and he just starts talking. I don't know about all the significance of all of it. Like he's talking about like fire and I don't know all these different things, and then there's like the is it the Black Lodge symbol that's on top?
Yeah. To me, I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know what else it could be, but
Yeah.
it was on the card that Mr. C the Slide Man showed to Daria, and it. Where else did we see it? We saw it another time. Oh, it's on the note that Major Briggs left for Sheriff Truman and the boys.
Yeah. Mr. C the Slide Man.
Yeah, dude. Creating the Cha-Cha Slide Part 11.
The return of the Cha-Cha Slide.
Yeah, God. It's just the same song released like 20 times. It's so bad. Anyway, he's Hawk talks about the fire, which is it can be a symbol for something great and a symbol for something dark and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And when you mix it with the blackness of the coordinates that they found from the note from Major Briggs, you get black fire.
Yeah.
And then we get the call from Log Lady.
Yeah.
And she says, Hawk, can you hear me? There's fire where you are going. My log is afraid of fire, Hawk. Which, I mean, I'm anxious to see how this all plays out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see this in the next episode or so, but Jackrabbit Palace, where do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, do you think it's the standard like I don't know, entrance into the Black Lodge that we saw from the original Twin Peaks, or no? Or do you think it's
I feel
somewhere?
like that would be the simple answer, yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
Well, because there was also that other, I forget what the name of it was, the place that like Major Briggs and all of them go to, right? Was Briggs with them? Whereas like Harry and Andy and Coop, and they're in like that cave type area.
Oh, Owl Cave.
Yeah.
Cave. I don't think they would refer to Owl Cave by a different name, though.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that was later. That was like part of the Wyndham Earl series, and it doesn't seem like they've really mentioned much of that plot just because of Lynch's non-involvement in it. I think.
Yeah, Lynch's disapproval of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how vocally he does not like most of season 2.
Yeah, the better blunt way of saying it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it has to do something with that. But I don't know. But yeah, I think the initially the whole premise of that scene and the whole purpose of that scene is Hawk and Truman are basically mapping out where they're going. And will it be the following day, or?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the following day.
Yeah, and Hawks like pulls out the map and says like this is a living map and it's never wrong. So, I mean, Hawk knows what he's doing. Like Coop said in the original run, if I ever go missing,
I hope Hawk is the man to find me.
Yeah, so he's gonna track him down. Okay, so now we're back at we're in South Dakota. Yeah. With
Well, before we go though,
okay.
There's a knock at the door in the sheriff's office, and Truman walks over and answers the door, and it's just like this rookie cop, and he's like, "Sheriff Truman, I was wondering if you'd like to see my new car," and Truman's like, "Jesse, I'm in a meeting. I can't. How about I see your new car tomorrow?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Do you think there's any significance to that, or is that just Lynchian goofiness?
I think Lynchian goofiness, because it's hard. Honestly, it's kind of hard to pick up now because it's so like far and like in between.
Yeah.
You know,
I know exactly what you mean.
we rarely get it in this run, so it's like whenever we do get it, it's like, okay, what does this really mean?
Yeah, I think what made me question it is just perhaps police corruption in Twin Peaks, because obviously Chad's a fuck boy.
Right.
So,
Oh, interesting.
I was wondering if maybe he was trying to distract him or something, but who knows?
That's a good point, possibly. But I don't know. I like to think that it's just kind of solely Chad. Like Chad's
Yeah,
just the lone dickhead. But
and you're probably right. I'm just I'm
Yeah.
trying to read too far into it.
I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
then Buckhorn, South Dakota.
we see Albert and Gordon at the police station, just kind of Gordon's like really shaky still from.
Well, yeah, his hand is shaking a lot like Josie Packard's hand was shaking.
You're blowing my mind right now. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. That because I remember that was my big gripe. Let me go off on a little tangent here, because I always thought Josie's acting was very like over the top, and like she really brought that like soap opera feel to her character. But towards the end, it was just like she was so trembly like all the time. I'm like, why? Like, why are you so over the top? And then the whole doorknob thing happened. She died of just fear. So now I get it. But anyway, yeah, that Gordon's like kind of shaky, like how she was, and we're like, ooh, damn, I didn't even connect that. Good catch.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, they what's her name? Tammy and the other police officer bring in some donuts and coffee because Gordon wants some coffee, and Albert says that's not a good idea. Recommends if he wants some warm milk. So yeah, they're kind of like talking, and Albert shows Gordon the picture of the coordinates from Ruth's arm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at him, and meanwhile Diane's like sitting by him, and she's looking over at the coordinates, and you can tell like she's mouthing the numbers like she's trying to memorize them.
Yep.
And Albert picks up on it, so he's looking at her trying to memorize the numbers.
Right.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that was intentional on Albert's part?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem like a man who wouldn't. Obviously, they're not gonna like reveal information to her because they both suspect her of being involved with Scale Cooper.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're gonna give her any information that she can use, or perhaps he blurred a bit of the image so that she doesn't have all of it or whatever, because he says that the last few numbers are smudged.
That could be it. Yeah. Like maybe they are the coordinates though, and they just want to get to Scale Coop that bad,
That could also be it.
Because I don't know if you noticed this. This is just kind of something small that I picked up on, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But when they're at the abandoned house earlier in the episode, when like Gordon and Albert are about to start approaching like the fence, Diane says like, I'm gonna hang back, and I don't know, to me there was like a little bit of like, they didn't say anything, but there was like an exchange between Gordon and Albert where they were like, is this okay, like should we let her like stay back, like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
yeah, and the way she said it was something like, this is as far as I go, or something like that.
So, like, I don't know. I just took that as they're still very skeptical of her, and like,
oh yeah,
they were reading that situation like, is that okay? All right, that's fine, and then they move forward. But again, I'm probably just overanalyzing it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That was a huge point to me though, because obviously those are gonna get told to Scale Coop, and who. Vin, for the people that are, this is their first episode, remind everyone what Scale Coop stands for.
Scary Dale Cooper. Scale Coop.
Scale Coop.
Also referring to his scaly, leathery skin.
That's true. We talked about that in the last episode, where he's probably a millionaire, we think, but
He very well could be. He just chooses to look like shit.
Yeah. But yeah, also in that scene, Gordon starts kind of getting his memory back, and is like, and that's to quote the episode title and what you said earlier. He remembers that he saw dirty, bearded men in a room. Because I don't know if we explained that too much in detail, but yeah, when he's like pulled up into the this
dirty,
vortex black hole thing,
bearded men in a room.
Well, how come he didn't say a staircase? Got to be more specific than that. Yeah, like
they are obviously on a staircase.
The image that he sees in the vortex is like 3 of the woodsman type figures that we saw earlier in the like episode 8 and throughout the season, and in Fire Walk with Me and the Black Lodge gas station type scene. Just the dark kind of spirit figures, and they're all just standing in a staircase, 3 of them looking at him. So, dirty bearded men in a room is what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, that all happens, and now we're finally back to Dougie, our boy.
Our boy, Dougie Jones.
And this, honestly, this kind of feels like a whole other episode now. Because
because for most of that, we were in Twin Peaks, which was kind of refreshing. I mean, aside from when we were in Buckhorn,
right?
The majority of that episode took place in Twin Peaks, which we haven't been getting a lot of in this season of Twin Peaks.
Right. So yeah, that hopefully that's a shift. But yeah, like that's what we're saying. There's so much that happens in this episode. Like that felt like a nice wrap up of an episode, but now we got a whole bunch more that happens. So okay, so we are back to Dougie. Boss calls him in. He has to have the coffee guide him into the office room.
Which I love. I love that he's chasing the coffee.
Yeah, like, I love it's kind of tedious that we don't have Coop back yet, but us getting the little sprinkles of Coop's character is really nice.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like his boss tells him that his corruption claims are correct. So whatever Dougie found in those reports that Mike was kind of guiding him through, telling him to scribble here, he says that that's correct. And this is what I wanted to like double check with you on. So basically he tells him the Mitchum brothers aren't responsible for the arson claims. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he was like, it wasn't an arson. But it was a legitimate, like, fire. Like, it was, like, a legitimate, like, accident. Like, so that he was like, and their claim is legit, so we can give them the money that we really owe them.
Got it. Okay. So do we know what that arson's from? That must be a previous thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think we saw it by any means, but he says something along the lines of a $30 million payout would be catastrophic for most firms like that, but somehow it all checks out.
That's crazy. And then does he also tell him that they're not the ones that are responsible for the organized crime? I could have swore he said something like that, right? Someone else is calling the shots?
Exactly, yeah. He was like, obviously, since like their arson was legit, they're not part of it. They're someone else's. Yeah.
Which I don't know how far I'd believe that, since they're willing to like kill Dougie
well,
later in the episode.
Well, what it is it was their rival that hired what's his name? The shitty insurance guy. What's his name?
Anthony?
Anthony, yeah. It was their rivals that hired Anthony. So
right.
It's
who advertised to Scale Coop. Yes.
So it's not the Mitchum brothers that are after Dougie and Cooper, but it's the other side of Vegas, I suppose.
Yeah. Whether that's directly from Scale Coop, I'm assuming, but I guess we'll wait and find out. But yeah, his boss tells him that the Mitchum brothers want to have a meeting with him. And then he's like, I think you should do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like, normally I wouldn't send out one of my men with reputed mobsters, but I'm gonna do it today.
and then we we see the Mitch. I'm starting to really like them as characters, though.
Oh, I love the Mitchum brothers.
Yeah.
Something that I loved that Battle and Bud said was he says Battle and Bud always punched above his weight class.
Yeah.
I love that he kept referencing his boxing career. That was great.
He should definitely keep referring to himself in like third person.
Oh yeah,
I would
definitely.
prefer that. But yeah, so we see the Mitchum brothers and we see them having breakfast, and Jim Belushi is like, I forget his. Do you know what his character's name is? One of the Mitchum
No,
brothers.
I know their actors' names. It's
Yeah.
Robert Nepper and Jim Belushi, which I didn't realize it was Robert Nepper until this episode. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Because every time I see Robert Nepper, he always looks like shit. Like he looks like
Uh-huh.
like a homeless man in pretty much everything else I've seen him in.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just been weird seeing him all clean cut. And it wasn't until I saw him in his pajamas that I was like, that's fucking Robert Nepper.
That's funny. But like, so they're like Jim Belushi like has his cup of coffee poured from Candy, of course, and they're in Candy's in her full get up, and Jim Belushi's just like, I had this dream of killing Dougie, like that Douglas Jones fuck.
Yeah.
He's just like really excited, and then it shows their clock, and it's like 2:23 in the afternoon. Like, I love that they're casino dudes, so maybe they work on a late schedule, but it was just funny to me that they're just now waking up.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you can wait a few hours, then you can kill him then. So Dougie's boss is kind of guiding him outside to the limo car, and Dougie looks over and sees Mike in one of the nearby buildings. Like in the entrance, he sees Mike's like waving him in. Unfortunately, we didn't get any dialogue from Mike, which that's always my favorite part. But
Oh yeah.
he waves him into the room, and Dougie comes back out with a box, and then he goes into the limo that's waiting for him, and the driver is the man who previously took him home, and in one of the earlier episodes. And this was really funny to me. Like, we get this this really nice sequence of like Dougie just like on the road to wherever we're assuming he's going to the casino, the Mitchum Brothers casino, but that turns out not to be the case. But we just see him like driving on the Vegas Strip, and like Viva, like a cover of Viva Las
Viva Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, is playing.
The funny thing to me is that's the exact version that plays over the credits of The Big Lebowski.
Oh, you think that was like an ode, a reference to that, maybe?
I wouldn't say go that far, but
Yeah.
it was funny to me that it was the same one.
Right. But the jump cut was the funniest thing to me because it wasn't like timed, like it wasn't.
No, it was just like in the
cut.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't at the end of a beat or the rhythm or anything like that. Like, it just cuts off midway through the song, and we see the Mitchum brothers are like out in the middle of the desert. And I don't know, that was really funny to me. But yeah, soon after, Dougie shows up in the limo, and go ahead and explain what happens after that.
Well, yeah, because Jim Belushi is talking to Robert Nepper about his dream, and at first he's like, "Yeah, I had a dream about fucking killing him," but the more it cuts back to Jim Belushi, he almost looks like he's in tears at some points, and he's like, "In my dream, that wound you had from Candy, it's completely healed." And Robert Nepper's like, "That's fucking impossible," and they rip off the Band-Aid, and the wound is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that's fucking weird. And so, yeah, Dougie arrives, and the cabbie helps him get out of the limo. And they're like, all right, get lost. And Robert Nepper like immediately like pulls out his gun like he's ready to fucking kill him. And Jim Belushi's like, wait, hold on. And starts explaining that in his dream, he's like, there's one special item that's in that box. And if it's in there, we can't kill him. It means we cannot kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Nepper's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I don't give a shit about your dream.
Yeah.
And this was scaring me because I was loving the episode, and I was like, what if Dougie dies right now? I don't want that to happen.
Right.
And so, and plus I love the Mitchum brothers too much. I didn't want to hate them.
Yeah.
So, he's going, what the fuck could possibly be in that box? And Jim Belushi whispers in his ear. And so Robert Nepper pulls out his gun again and heads towards Dougie. And he's like, what the fuck is in that box? Is there a cherry pie in there? And Dougie just goes, cherry pie. And so Jim Belushi walks up and is like, fucking cherry pie. And so Robert Nepper has him frisk him just in case. And sure enough, Battle and Bud had given Dougie the $30 million check to give to them because that's what the insurance company owed them for the insurance claim. And Jim Belushi is instantly like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
So they fucking take him back to the casino, or that's what I'm assuming is where they take him. And they're all having pie together, set to the tune of some jolly piano. And one of the things that I thought was funny was, you're telling me your kid has no gym set? Every kid should have a gym set. Mm-hmm. It's just like, how are they having these conversations with Dougie? Like, how does the conversation get to that point?
Yeah.
But a little bit after that, we see the old, like, homeless lady from the casino, like from episode 3, come up, and Mr. Jackpots, and she thanks him for everything that he did for her. And she's like, I hope you guys realize how special of a man you have dining with you tonight. And that warmed my heart because it was kind of like, you know, the Cooper that we all know would help anybody. And
right.
So that was kind of like another bit of Cooper's personality shining through on complete accident.
Right. Yeah, and he seemed very, like, he started smiling when she thanked him. Like, there was a deep down satisfaction there. Yeah, and in that scene, like, I don't remember if this is after the woman appears and, you know, calls him Mr. Jackpots and gives him a kiss and all that. But the piano player that's, like, they're in this lounge type area that's playing, he starts playing a song, and I didn't look up what piece he was playing. It sounded, I thought it would have been a little bit too on the nose, a little bit too self-aware.
If it was Laura Palmer's theme.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like it was going to go into.
Yeah.
And, like, there was a shift in, it's like we've seen it before with Dougie, like when he saw the American flag and then he looked over at the electrical socket, like you can tell the gears are kind of working in his head. And he's, like, trying to figure it out. But when he heard that piece of music, he had that same sort of look, like he was feeling something or maybe trying to remember something. So, again, we're almost, I don't know, hopefully we're almost there to Coop coming back.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the closest things that we got was Candy hands out slices of pie for everybody, and they're eating them. And Jim Belushi, I believe, is who it says it. He's like, "It's a damn good cherry pie." And Dougie Coop responds with, "Damn good." And it was there, you know, for a split second.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the episode ends.
Yeah, really.
Here's
to the pie that saved your life.
Yeah. Man, one thing, I don't know if this is, I'm sure she's just pulling everyone's leg, but Peggy Lipton tweeted that, like, something along the lines of, you never know, that could have been some of Norma's pie.
Some enormous pie?
No.
Some of Norma's pie.
Yeah, like Norma made that pie. Don't know how that would be possible, but that would be crazy if that was true.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that.
I'm sure she's just pulling everyone's leg.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think's next? What do you think we'll see next, or what do you hope to see?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know. All I know that I want to see is Big Ed. I'm excited to see Jackrabbit Palace.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
very anxious to figure out what's going on there, how the living map works into it,
Mm-hmm.
what was going on with what happened outside the Double R Diner and Bobby. I'm also anxious to figure out what was going on there.
With that kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not exactly how this woman appeared, but it reminded me of the woman who was like scratching her armpit in the armpit lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we just called her the armpit.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the arm.
Yeah. um yeah, like there's this some sort, but then again they seem like they were out of town because she was like, we have a dinner we have to go to. Like they
Yeah.
were just almost passing through town. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe there's like a plague or some sort of weird disease that people are feeling, but maybe I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. I really don't know what to make of all that.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I'm just remembering now that I think might be important is when they found Ruth's body, they asked if they found Major Briggs's head.
Major Briggs's head. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody had found that yet, and obviously his head has like been pretty, like his actual head has been kind of important. Like, obviously that's what Coop saw in that purgatory space zone earlier
Mm-hmm.
in one of the first episode 5, I think, or something. And
Yeah.
and then obviously when Bill Hastings was talking about what he saw with Briggs, did he say his head came off?
Yeah.
So is it just lost in
Or you know what?
in
Maybe he
space?
just said it disappeared. I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly his word.
that sounds right. So yeah, that's significant that they haven't found his head yet.
Definitely.
But I don't know. I agree though. I'm really excited to see what they find once they go up there.
Mhm.
I hope Richard gets caught, gets his ass beat.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of kid, Richard Horn. Yeah, and I hope to see how Magic Motherfucker kind of plays into all this too.
That's true because I think maybe he might be the one to like bring Richard down in a weird roundabout way. Because I don't know, I don't think that whole scene of them like against each other was for nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, very excited to see Jesse's new car.
Jesse's new car.
Yeah, dude.
Remind me again, Jesse's new car.
It's the cop that knocked on the Sheriff Truman's door.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Obviously a very important fact.
A very, very important.
Very important plot point.
Yeah, things to watch out for.
Do you think we'll see Wally Brando again?
Ooh, we can only hope. But, you know, the road is his home, so.
Him just like holding his fist in solidarity. It's my favorite.
Well, hey guys, thanks for listening. If you liked it, please give us a fist up in solidarity. My name's Vinny. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I'm Steven. We appreciate all the new listeners, everybody checking us out. And if you're a big Ed head and you're excited for Big Ed to make his return like us, give us a like, comment, a subscribe, all that good stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, and if there's something that we missed that we didn't pick up on, please let us know in the comments, because that's what we're here to find out. We want to know more. So if there's something that we missed or something that we got incorrect or something, just let us know down there, and we'll address it in the next one when we discuss part 12 next week.
And we will see you then.
Yeah, thanks again for listening, guys. Have a a swell day.